Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a terrific Tuesday so far. Josh Rugger here in studio this morning to give you the latest updates on that winter weather potential. It's knocking on our doorstep right now, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get you caught up on all of the latest information that we've got here in the Weather Lab. Of course, that winter weather advisory in effect from 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. today. Of course, the main hazard and the main reason why we have a winter weather advisory in effect in the first place is because we could have areas of blowing snow. We also could have accumulations up to 1.5 inches, especially in the higher terrain of northwest Arkansas. So, a lot of details that we're still fine tuning this morning right now because a lot of information still to kind of iron out here in the weather lab as that snow begins to wrap around that low pressure system. Obviously, we got dry slotted last night, so that kept a lot of that rain off to the east of the area. That allowed us to clear out a little bit. Now we're starting to see pockets of drizzle and sprinkles develop on radar. And this is important. I was talking about this with Crystal early this morning in our meeting. This drizzle could actually cause a lot of issues this morning because that treatment that's on the roadways right now could be washed away. That means that the snow may stick a little bit easier on the roadways as you're traveling early this morning. So we're going to have to watch that very closely. I know some winter precipitation is starting to show up on radar as well, but temperatures are well above freezing. However, as that cold front moves through northwest Arkansas, those temperatures are going to drop off rather quickly. And you can already see temperatures dropping off in Fayetteville. A few minutes ago, it was 39 degrees in Fayetteville. Now we're down to 37 degrees, 38 in Bentonville, 40 in Fort Smith, and 37 in Harrison. Now, in the River Valley, I'm not expecting a whole lot of impacts today. Unlike last week on Friday when the snow initially hit the River Valley and we saw some impacts early in the morning, I don't think that's going to be the case with this system. I think the majority of the energy is just off to the north and west, but still can't rule out some flurries or snow showers along the Interstate 40 corridor. However, you can see here on Future Track, northwest Arkansas along the north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel is going to be the main focus for snow. Again, a lot of this is starting off as rain. We're going to see dynamic cooling. We're going to see that cold conveyor belt start to take over, and that's going to drop off our temperatures rather quickly. Now, you notice those temps are going to be borderline freezing throughout this event. So we're going to need heavy snowfall rates in order for this snow to really start piling up on the roadways and elevated surfaces. And the main time frame for that to happen is after 7 a.m. and through about noon. I think that's going to be the sweet spot for heavier snowfall potential in northwest Arkansas and also the potential for blowing snow. And what we mean by blowing snow is that wind starts to ramp up out of the northwest, and it takes that wet snow and it blows it around rather quickly. So that can cause concerns to visibility. That can cause near whiteout conditions sometimes. We're not forecasting a blizzard here, but again, this can definitely be a concern that we have to watch very closely. Now, temperatures are going to drop off below freezing in northwest Arkansas after about 10 to 11 o'clock a.m. However, are we going to have enough energy left behind to see more impacts on the roadways? I think that could be the case, especially in the higher terrain of northwest Arkansas as those snow showers continue. We're also going to be watching the dry air move in northwest Arkansas very closely. Sometimes the models can't pick up on that. So there is potential for snow through about 3 o'clock p.m., but I think the sweet spot for impacts on the roadways is going to be between 7 a.m. to noon. So just make sure you're aware of that as you're traveling this morning. I know already some schools have delayed their starts. I'm not sure what the Big Four are going to do. I know Bentonville comes back to school today. So certainly going to be watching that very closely. The thing is that I'm recommending this morning is delaying travel if possible, because once the snow starts falling, once the winds start whipping up, we are going to start seeing conditions deteriorate rather quickly. And this is a big reason why I think that's going to be the case. Look at the winds right now. We're talking about wind gusts between 10 to 15 miles per hour. But once that cold conveyor belt moves in, once that cold front pushes through northwest Arkansas, those winds are going to shift out of the west-northwest. And that's going to allow for very gusty wind gusts, potentially up to 40 miles per hour. Nothing as significant as what we saw yesterday when we had 60 mile per hour damaging wind gusts, but still something that could cause impacts is still something you need to be aware of if you're driving out and about early this morning. I do think those winds will start dying down as we go throughout the rest of the evening hours. But right now, in terms of snowfall accumulation, still a little bit up in the air from the models, but I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going to go down in the weather lab. You can see this particular model showing about an inch to an inch and a half in Benton County, as well as a little bit farther east towards Carroll County and Eureka Springs and Harrison. I do think that is going to be the case. I think the farther north you go, the more likely you are to see higher snowfall totals. Fayetteville is going to be kind of borderline in terms of getting an inch or not. But if we take a closer look at that again, the models sometimes can underdo things. So we're going to be watching it very closely, especially if those temperatures drop off a little bit quicker, which I do think there's the potential for that to happen, considering we're already starting to see some light rain in northwest Arkansas. So we're already getting a head start on that dynamic cooling process. It's going to allow that rain to transition to snow a little bit quicker. Here's our official snowfall totals that we've got forecasted here in the Weather Lab. Right now, a half inch to an inch and a half, a good bet along and north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel again. Surrounding areas, a dusting to a half inch. It's going to be a sharp cutoff, I think, between the haves and the have-nots with this system. Of course, in the River Valley, especially in the lower lying areas of the River Valley around Fort Smith, I'm expecting a whole lot, maybe a dusting, but I wouldn't rule out a dusting to a half inch in the Washita Mountains as well, especially if we can get a little bit more energy that far south. So here's the latest 2-day forecast timeline. Again, snowfall really starts to ramp up between about 7 a.m. to noon, and then drops off pretty quickly during the afternoon. High temperatures today being met right now, because I don't think we're going to get up to much higher than 36 degrees once we get to the late afternoon, early evening hours. So I think we could have the potential for refreezing overnight tonight. Certainly got to watch the snowfall totals very closely, see if the snow sticks around during the afternoon. But keep an eye tomorrow morning. We could have some refreezing, especially if the skies clear relatively quickly. Low temperatures will drop off into the 20s. Highs tomorrow will be in the middle to upper 40s. Here's one last look at that 24-hour precipitation forecast. There's that 80% chance of snow between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. and then dropping off during the afternoon hours. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to be on here for another 5 more minutes, and then I got to get ready. Of course, if you want more details, you can find us on KNWA News starting at 5 and 6 o'clock a.m. Also, Fox 24 News at 7. I'm going to have all the latest information on traffic, all the latest information on what we're looking at on satellite radar, and we'll get you through this event for sure. But right now, this is not going to be a significant winter storm. We're not anticipating that at all. But if you can this morning, might be a good idea to delay travel, especially if you're leaving between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I think that's really where we're going to see the majority of the impacts, especially with low visibility and the potential for those back roads and side streets to get a little bit messy. But because those temperatures are going to be borderline freezing, it's going to become a slushy mess quickly, which is good because we'd rather take slush than ice patches. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask right now, as I'll be on till about 4:53, and then I'm going to have to cut it off and get ready for the shows. Thank you so much, Michelle, for the very kind words, and I'm used to it, used to it at this point, even when there's not snow. I'm in here at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, so I really appreciate that. Thank you for the update. Have a great day and stay safe. Same to you, Shayla. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe out there on the roadways, and we'll get you through all of this winter weather as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours. Do you have any info about how roads have been treated? So, Robin, that's a good question. We're still going to look at that. We're going to find out a little bit more about that. We've got a reporter out in the field right now who's talking to the Arkansas Department of Transportation. I know they treated the roads yesterday. That got washed away in the rain, obviously. And then overnight, there was supposed to be more treatment on the roads as well. But when I was driving on the roads this morning, we had areas of drizzle, sprinkles, even light rain. And I know that's starting to get washed away right now. So if sand was used, I think it's still on the roads. But a lot of times, the mixture that we see on these roadways in northwest Arkansas is a mixture of salt and brine. So if that was the case, a lot of it's probably washed away right now, which is why we need to keep an eye on everything. What time does the winter precip happen for Fayetteville, Susan? So if you just joined in, the snowfall should start right around 6:30, 7 o'clock at the earliest, though a lot of that precipitation is going to start off as rain. And then we're going to see the transition to all snow between about 7 to 8 o'clock a.m. And if you really want to avoid travel, it's going to be between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I think that's when the heaviest snow is going to be falling. So, Pamela, you're asking about any delays for school. So stand by for just a few moments, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to post a link in the chat. This is going to give you access to the latest delays and closings that we're seeing in Northwest Arkansas. But you can go to this website for more details as well, knwa.com. That's going to have all the latest information. But I'm going to post to you, I'm going to give you a direct link. I know this, if you're still on here, Pamela, that we have NWAC that's closed today. Primrose School of Rogers at Pinnacle Hills opens at 9:30 a.m. And Thadden School in Bentonville opens at 11 o'clock a.m. So stand by just for a moment, folks. I'm going to post the link in the chat. If you want more information, you can go to nwahomepage.com/weather/closings, and that's going to give you all the latest details on the closings and delays to schools. Let's see here. I have a car. I'm worried I'll get to work and not back from Fayetteville to Prairie Grove. So what time do you go to work, Misty? So If you leave a little bit later this morning, I think you'll be fine. After 11 o'clock, I think most of the roads are going to become a slushy mess. So if you take it nice and easy, you're going to be fine. I think also the visibilities will be much better afterwards. As you're heading back home from work, I think, especially during the afternoon hours, things are going to be a-okay. I think after noon, it's certainly going to be fine on the roadways. I think the road crews will be able to plow any snow that happens. I think the roads are going to just be slush at that point, and I think you're going to be fine as you're heading back home from work. It's just getting to work that could be a little bit more of an issue as we go throughout the day today. Okay, I've got about 2 more minutes here. So if you got last minute questions, just be sure to ask. Any news for Mountain Home, Arkansas? So, Christina, for Mountain Home, there is the potential for some snow. We don't cover Mountain Home in our weather coverage area. However, I am expecting some snowfall accumulation in Mountain Home. You can see that we've got that including about a dusting to a half inch of snow. Maybe even a locally higher amounts as well towards Mountain Home. I know it's a little bit higher in elevation in that area, so we'll certainly watch that very closely for you there in Mountain Home. Again, if you want all the latest details this morning on traffic, as well as updated snowfall totals and timing, you can join us this morning on KNWA News starting at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. That's going to be on channel 51 for most of you folks, as well as Fox 24 News at 7 o'clock. And that's, of course, going to be on channel 24. All right, I got 1 more minute. Again, last minute questions. Ask them now. I will have another weather live stream coming up after the show on Fox 24 News at 7. So that'll be around 8 to 8:30. We'll have all the latest details there, all the latest traffic information. But again, we're going to be rocking and rolling in about 5 minutes or so. Here's the latest timing, everything you need to know there. I don't know if there's anything else I'll show here. I guess we could show the winter weather advisory one more time. Again, this is mainly a Northwest Arkansas event. 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock is when that winter weather advisory begins and ends. Blowing snow is going to be the main concern. So visibilities are going to have to be watched very, very closely this morning with snowfall accumulations up to 1.5 inches, mainly in the higher terrain of Northwest Arkansas. So towards Madison and Carroll, as well as Newton and Boone County. These areas right here will have the best chance to see about 1.5 inches of snow. Leslie's asking what's going to be the best time to leave from Little Rock. Leslie, if you're in Northwest Arkansas, I would say probably around lunchtime or so would probably be a better idea, in my opinion. If you leave beforehand, you need to take it very, very slowly on the roadways. But I would say the safest time is around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock today. So it will start snowing in Rogers, I think, within the next couple of hours or so. Still trying to see when that rain is going to transition to snow. Obviously, we're already starting to see sprinkles show up on satellite and radar, but I think that's going to transition to snow within the next couple of hours or so, between about 6:30 to 7 o'clock a.m. All right, I've got to wrap this up. I've got to get ready for the shows. Again, you can find us on KNWA News at 5 and 6 o'clock on channel 51 for most of you folks, as well as Fox 24 News at 7. We'll have all the latest details. I'll have another weather live stream coming up around 8:30, and we hope to see you then and hope everybody stays safe today. Just take it nice and easy on the roadways if you must travel this morning, and we'll get you through this winter weather event as we go throughout your Tuesday. All right, everybody, have a good one. We'll see you later. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.